Hey, this is Leslie with Comfortable Shoes Studio, and this is art journaling number 11. I make a visit to the Brickyard over in Lynn. So the initial plan was for my friend and I to go over to the Brickyard and use the Risograph machine, but unfortunately he was not able to go, so I ended up going over by myself and playing with the Risograph. So a risograph is kind of like a photocopier. It's made for doing massive amounts of copies very, very quickly. And it uses a soy-based ink, so it's not good on coated papers, which I find out today. Um, and it works best on absorbent dry papers. So I go in and I'm deciding to make little prints of skulls because I do skulls quite often. So here you're seeing the layout. So I used some deli paper to create layered images for the printing process. So I have this printed 2 up. So I'm printing 2 of the skulls on a single 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. The risograph at the Brickyard will print a legal sized paper, which is kind of awesome. So here you can see the paper going in. The little tray moves up and down. Paper goes in. So each color got its own separate piece of deli paper that I, drew on. And it was basically, this works a lot like a photocopier, except it makes basically a stencil that the ink is squished through. So closer to a screen print than it is to a photocopier. And it would not be a risograph printing session if there wasn't some sort of problem with the printing process. In this case, for whatever reason, it could not eject the old master prints from the machine. It took me a second to figure out how to get that off. It tells you when it can't do it, and then you have to flip a couple of physical switches, rotate things, and pull that stencil off. So there's the old stencil. And I'm going to throw that away, rotate the drum back into place, and slide it back in. All the while trying not to get that soy ink all over me. Alright, yeah, so here I'm printing the teal, and one of the guys at the Brickyard is walking by because the Riso machine is situated in kind of a weird spot. It's in a hallway. So you'll be able to see in some of the video how fast this thing spits out prints. This is pretty slow because I'm just doing test prints for the colors. Here we go. Real fast. And it goes faster as it gets going. You can see one got crinkled, and I had a jam that I had to pull out. So the process for making these is each color gets its own sheet of paper. And so it overlays. It's more like a screen print than it is a photocopy. So here you can see how the colors are laying over one another. I'm printing the yellow on top of Kelly green and teal. And you're supposed to wait between prints. I did not. You can also see it's offsetting. Some of the colors printed really well. Some of them did not. I got a few different shots. These are all, like, I did do a couple hundred copies. And that's the thing with the risograph. If you're gonna print, makes more sense to do 100 copies of something instead of just a dozen. So there we go. And I am leaving in the sound from the Brickyard. There's a lot of people working there that day, and It was just kind of cool background noise, and the sound of the machine is pretty cool. And I did figure out what was going on with my microphone. Here I am switching out the ink drum. So I'm going to pull the yellow ink drum out, and I'm going to situate it in the exact same way it needs to go into that case. So the drum comes out. It's going to go into that case in that same configuration. And I'm going to pull. Here's my butt. I'm going to pull. I'm going to pull the black out and pop it into the machine. It's real easy to change up colors on this thing. And there we go. Now the yellow goes in to that case for safety, and it keeps it from drying out. And then it gets shut. I'm looking forward to coming over and using the Riso machine a couple more times. So here's the paper going in with the previous prints. You can see these are not printing. There's quite a lot of offsetting on this, which is going to be great because I'm going to have some collage material packs as well as finished prints for people. This paper was not the greatest for this. It was okay. It's a coated glossy paper, which looks fantastic with photocopy, but not so great with the Risograph. So I might make some zine innards out of it because it feels like a magazine. It feels really nice. And I did a bunch of different colors. So I did some yellow, some blue, some tan. Here's a yellow. The cardstock, the uncoated cardstock, looked really good. So here's a question: is this art journaling? Is this art journaling? I mean, I'm making prints. I'm going to use a bunch of them. The offcuts in my art journal. Look at that, the black on top of all the other colors. I got so excited when I saw this the first time when it came through. I think it just looks really good. I'm super happy with it. I did print a bunch of test prints of the black on some colors, so the black on the yellow, black on the tan, and you can see it crinkled in a couple of spots. And look at that, that's so cool. So cool. And I was definitely looking for that offset, not quite right printing that the Risograph does on some of these. Yeah, I really dig that. And so my wife pointed out that the plus sign on the underside looks like a cross, which was not my intent. Here I'm going through some of the prints and just looking at like the stuff that didn't print well, the stuff that did print well, if there's anything that's wrinkled, and I'm kind of separating them out. They ended up all mixed together anyway later. So anyway, yeah. So think about like, is this art journaling? Do you think this is art journaling? I kind of do. I think in a way it is. You know, I'm experimenting with the Risograph machine, kind of playing around with what the inks look like, what they don't look like. I don't know. I'm digging it. I really ended up liking it on the tan and the yellow. The tan and yellow prints are some of my favorite. And I didn't do as many of those as I did the white because I have an entire case of the white paper. And I think I have like 2 or 3 reams each of the yellow and the tan. So it's not like I'm hurting for paper, but I'm trying to test out the the white paper. But I do think the white paper will be great for innards, for zines. Whereas the rest of it, I'm thinking some cover stock. I think it'd be really cool to do some, black ink on top of like that yellow. Maybe do some marbling and make some pocket notebooks. So more just kind of going through the stuff and, what do I like, what don't I like, what needs work, what what can I print more on, and what's trash, or what I shouldn't say trash. What's collage material? What's going to end up as collage material? And I do like that glossy paper. I'm not gonna lie. Oops. I thought I cut that out. Okay, so the Brickyard also has this massive antique guillotine. I should have checked to see how wide it is, but it will. I think it's like 17 inches wide. It's wide, and so this thing, I have a guillotine that works in a similar way. This one is better, so much better. It was just effortless to cut through. I think I've got like 200 sheets of paper there, and just whoosh, it just slices it like it's nothing. It does need a new stick of hardwood in there for the knife to come down into. I did put after this, I put a sheet of cardstock, waste cardstock underneath to protect the prints from getting dinged up. You can see the ding up in the bottom there. So there's a waste cardstock, which is actually just a regular sheet of cardstock. And I'm going to cut them in half. You can see the clamp coming down, squeezing everything nice and tight, and then whoosh, the blade coming down, and it slices through it like it's butter. And because this was so easy, I decided I was gonna trim off the other edges because I could, and also so it would center those prints a little bit better. So I did speed this up a little bit. You have to check out what the sound mixing looks like, or sounds like. There, cutting through the other stack. And again, it's like there's nothing there. It's crazy how easy this thing cuts through. So here I'm cutting off a 1/2 inch off this edge of the first skulls, so the skulls that were on the left-hand side of the page. And again, it's just like butter. Love this thing. The director of the Brickyard came in when I was using this, and this is one of those machines that is usually locked out and the key is somewhere hidden. And I have permission to use it because I know how to use it. Because I'm a printmaker. The guy saw me using it. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Using this." He's like, "Oh, I didn't recognize you there for a minute," because I hadn't seen him in a while. And so this is actually a very dangerous machine. I should get a video of it in its full glory from like top to bottom. It is amazing, but it's also super dangerous. That blade, if your fingers are underneath it, you're losing your finger. It is very sharp. It's also on such a lever action that it really doesn't take me all that much effort to slice through. Like this, that's an inch high stack of paper, mix of cardstock and 24-pound paper, and this thing, just watch it. Like, damn, if that was your finger, gone, and it's slicing through bone too. Like I said, so this thing's super dangerous. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. I really want to do some pocket notebooks and zines so that I can, really use this machine more. So I'm doing a 1/4 inch off each side of this. On the underside of this, there is a little screw, and you use that, and you can kind of see it pushing the block forward. It's going to push it forward a little bit more, and you can really get some pretty fine measurements there. So it just does it. All right. Thank you everyone for watching as I make some prints. I hope you enjoyed this. It's kind of like a 15 minutes B-roll. So thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. If you are interested in getting a copy of these or a pack of collage material, go over to Ko-fi. Link is in the description, and you can see it there. Thanks everyone. Bye.